George Joseph Smith was an English conman. He made his living by persuading lonely spinsters to marry him and then making off with their money. But when he married Bessie Mundy in 1910, he found that her inheritance was in a trust, and so he had to persuade her to make a will in his favor. Only July 13, 1912, Bessie was found on her back in the tub, her head under the water, with a piece of soap clutched in her right hand. The coroner's jury decided that she had an epileptic fit in the tub and had then drowned. On November 14, 1913, George would marry Alice Burnham and insured her life for $500 on the 13th of December. She would die in the bathtub. George's next wife, Alice, was luckier, as George married her on September 17, 1914, and left her $90 poorer. Then, a few days later, on December 17th, he married his fourth wife, Margaret, insuring her life for $700 by that evening the following day. She, too, had been found dead, lying in the bathtub. A report in the papers of the bride's tragic death. The day after her wedding day, Alice's father read it, and so did the landlady of the seaside lodgings in which she had died. In both were struck by the similarities of the two cases and reported her concerns to the police. George was detained for questioning on February 1st, and on the same day Dr. Bernard Spilsbury exhumed and examined the body of Margaret. And shortly after he examined the other two women's bodies connected with George, there were no signs of violence on any of the bodies, and no doubt that they had drowned. The woman had been found on their backs and their heads below the water, and their legs straight out of the water. Dr. Bernard pointed out that if the dead women had died of a fit, their heads would have been forced up the sloping end of the bathtub because of the muscular spasms. But on the other hand, there were no signs of a struggle, which might have been expected if they had been forced to drown. George's guilt was established, and he was found guilty of murder, and was sentenced to hang to death in August 1915.